good morning. And they would normally say, thank God it's Friday. But I guess when you're your own boss, I mean, you can't say thank God it's Friday because you work all the time. However, my friend, today we're going to be having an
Mm,
interesting conversation. We're going to be talking about fear, the face of fear, and what fear does. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it in between? um, how to overcome fear so you can come into your greatest success story. So, today we're going to be doing a deep dive into that talking point. But just before we get started today, I want to say that this program comes to you with the kind compliments of the Bestseller portal. And I really want you to take some time and go to the Bestseller portal. Why? Because you're going to get books, you're going to get greetings cards. And when you go to our service section, you're going to see that if you're in business and you need to have your ad done to promote your business, all of this you can get from a team of experts. But just let me navigate you a little bit in terms of the website. So when you go to the website, which is bestsellerportal.org, just let me put up that site for you. You tap on the bestsellerportal.org. I want you to click on products. All right. Now, when you click on products, a beautiful window will open up for you. You're going to see greetings card, but I don't want you to go to greetings card as yet. I want you to go to your left hand side, the drop down. You're going to see ebook, and I want you to tap on ebooks. Now, when you tap on ebooks, you're going to see we have about 11 volume of master the sales communication available. Now, again, if you are in business and you want books that you can read, ebooks, books that you can listen to learn more about clever, smart, innovative ways of doing business, I do encourage you to go to that site. I do encourage you to get the book. For example, you're going to learn about the MVO. What is the MVO? That's your minimum viable offer, most viable offer, and maximum viable offer. Why is it important? Because in many cases, when you, the rising star in business, is going to market, you are going to market with your maximum viable offer. But to go to market with a maximum viable offer, you need the human, technical, and capital resources. At the beginning, you don't have all of this. So you set yourself up to self sabotage. We have done the research, we have interfaced with businesses across the world. We understand the reality, and we have written this book to really help you to understand how to navigate it. But that's just the icing on the cake. You have so many more icing on the cake for you to get when you start to navigate this book. So go to this website, take the time, get familiar with the content, and I want you to reach out to us, talk to us about your learning. If you need more information, you have direct access to the authors so you can interface with them to really understand uh, the book, what is being said. All right. Now, divorce from this, you might have a loved one in your life, and we often talk about relationship. Sometimes we talk a good talk about relationship, but when it comes to really walking the good walk in terms of relationship, we just don't walk that good walk. But here what the BSP set up for you. The BSP, which is the bestseller portal, they introduce cards, not just any cards. These are cards that are so well written that it really helps you to express yourself in a way that helps you to connect with people. All right. This is your AI. You want the right words and the right lines to speak to someone in greetings card format. Look at these cards. You have so many cards. You have cards for husbands and wife, and for boyfriend and girlfriend, for friends. All right. You have all of these cards that are available to you. So I encourage you to go to the site and take some time and see what they have to offer. Last but not least, you're in business and you may have an excellent brand, but if no one knows about you, what happens there? You don't get the cash flow optimized. All right. And if you don't get the cash flow optimized, what happens there? the business becomes a sinking ship. And that's the last thing that you want to have happen. All right. So go to the site, go to services, and you would also see the range of services in which the bestseller portal is offering. You're going to get radio ads, television ads, newspaper ads. You're going to get ads done for magazine. You're going to get ads being done for, social media and so much more at the best cost too, competitive pricing. The beauty about working with the advertising team, I must say this, is that they have knowledge about what they're doing. You see, producing an ad is not just waking up and writing the ad. You don't become an advertising copywriter just by that. The team of experts here, they take the time to understand your product. They take the time to ensure that your product is aligned to the ideal client. And they take the time combining these two together and then writing the ad that is going to help you to achieve clinical objective. So you have a team of experts that is going to be going to work for you. Now, with all of that being said, today we're talking about an important topic. We're talking about fear. What is holding you back in business and in life? And I have a mastermind with me in the studio today. One of my usual colleagues. You're quite familiar with his face. His name is Paul Whitehouse. And Paul Whitehouse is a financial expert. And he is the guy that has tremendous experience in real estate investment. He has experience in capital access. And today, we will be talking about fear, the face of fear. Does it hold you back? Does it push you forward? Does it cripples your dream? So, Paul, just before we get into today's conversation, and we're going to talk about fear in relation to money, capital access, capital leverage. We're going to talk a lot about money and fear today. Just before we get into today's topic, can you introduce yourself a little bit so those who might be viewing us for the first time, they now have a better idea of who is Paul. So, Paul, all to you, my friend.
Thank you, Gary. Well, hopefully the people watching today watch us all the time, so they already know, because we introduce ourselves every day, but this would be for new people. Um,
Yeah.
One of two owners of Patriot Business Finance Consultants. PatriotBFC.com is our website, and we we have a lot of sources for capital: equipment financing, real estate financing, cash flow products, lines of credit that's available through Gary, raising capital. A lot of big things can happen in your life. They've happened in my life, and I'm here to let you know that, to relay that to you, that they can happen in your life. In addition to real estate financing and equipment financing, we're also scouts for two investment bankers. Now, I never thought I would be a scout for an investment banker, but it happened because I pushed one button on LinkedIn. And I say that to motivate you, to let you know that it can happen. Just do things, push buttons, connect with people, and things will happen for you. You got to follow up. But okay, to get back to who we are and what we do, who I am and what I do, is we're here to help you get the lowest cost of money and the best deal under the best circumstances. Uh, we're here for you. We can help you get the capital. If you have difficult credit and you don't think that you can get financed, or you've been declined by your bank, well, throw that outside into the trash, because if your bank said no, your bank's got strict qualifications, usually 680, 650 and below. We have lenders who want that business. They understand that the world's not perfect. You know what I'm saying? That it's not easy out there. Things happen, and people need to have the chance and the ability to rebound. So there are lenders out there who will say yes to the situation. And if you want to get a hold of me, Paul at patriotbfc.com, email, or direct PM Gary, and get a hold of me.
All right. Thanks for that share, Paul. So you've heard it. Paul, he works with over 100 different financial sources. I have also a team of financial sources that I'm working with. We have combined our skill sets in order to support you, the rising star in business, to help you get past some of your fear. You know, you starting a business and you're fearful, would I be able to access capital? Would I be able to leverage capital in the right way? You know, would I be able to mitigate debt? We're going to talk about fear associated with all of that as time progresses. But I want to thank Paul for making that introduction. But I want to get into the heart of the subject now. Let's talk about fear. You know, and I may be saying some things that you may not want to, agree with, but I'm going to say this: embrace fear. Embrace fear, because fear is not necessarily the enemy. The way you're thinking is the enemy, and you're only thinking that way perhaps because you have not been trained or socialized into thinking differently. Now, fear is the absence of knowledge. All right, fear is the absence of knowledge of how to win. And I'm going to give some example as I go into that, shortly. Fear is the absence of knowledge of how to win. Think about it. If you know exactly how to win, would you be fearful of taking step one, two, and three to position yourself to win? No. But you're going to be fearful because you don't know how to win. So when you don't know how to win and you have big dreams, the smart thing to do is to get in contact with mentors, with coach, with the right support systems. And myself and Paul, we're here, our community, we're here to help you navigate some of those things that you're going to be fearful of. We'll talk some more about finance just now. But so I want you to take note of this. All right. Fear is not the enemy. So embrace that. Because very often when you embrace fear and you grow through fear, you recognize it's only the knowledge that you didn't have of how to win, how to navigate this particular situation that causes you to be fearful. The strange thing about it is that what I've seen is that there are many persons you have big business dreams, you know, but you allow fear. You know, you might have heard grandmom and granddad say, stay away from debt. And that shaped your way of thinking, and you have to detox from that and get the right mentor. Because when you allow fear to come in the way of your success story, what happened? It hijacks your dreams and your hopes and your aspiration for many years and sometimes decades. Decades. But if you get a right mentor on your side, I'm going to have Paul talk to you just now about finance, because I think the more you know about it, the more you're knowledgeable about it, the more you build a relationship with finance, you're going to be more receptive to stepping out. I'm going to say four things quickly to overcome the fear of money, to overcome the fear of debt. It's important for you to understand financial instrument. All right. When you understand financial instrument, you understand how it works. You need to also take the step two is to understand how to access capital. When you understand how to access, it also helps you to cross a little faster over that fear hurdle. The third step, you need to understand how to leverage. And I may go deeper into this as time progresses today, because accessing capital is only one element of the game. Knowing exactly how to leverage is another equation. And many rising stars fail right here. All right, you fail right here. And we understand why you're going to be fearful, because you might have tried and you might have failed, and you fail because you don't have the knowledge. Remember, fear is the absence of knowledge. All right, it's the absence of information. You need to get the information. The last part here is understanding mitigation, because when you understand how to access, how to leverage, how to mitigate, guess what? You no longer have that fear because you're on the side of knowledge. You're not on the side of ignorance, you're on the side of knowledge. And knowledge really opened the door to tremendous opportunities. So before getting deeper into money and fear associated with it, I'm going to ask my colleague Paul. Paul, can you talk to us a little bit about money, about capital, about financial instruments? So those who are in business, they have a better understanding of what financial instrument is. I'm going to deal with a little bit of what are perhaps some of the risk and how to mitigate to help them grow past the fear. All to you, my friend.
Thanks, Gary. Well, I mean, there's a lot of financial instruments. There's equipment leasing, which is the best way to own equipment or to finance equipment. When you hear leasing, you might think it's like a car, you turn it back in. But even with cars, when you lease a car, you've got an option to buy it and buy it out. It's in the contract. There's a dollar amount, a specific dollar amount that doesn't change. It's it's in the contract. And there's two types of equipment leasing for business. There's stuff that you don't want to own, like stuff that goes out of date, 2 years, computers, you want the next best thing. That's one type of a lease. You don't own it. You just pay it. And that entire payment is a write-off because that's a long-term rental. It's an expense. So that's one of the reasons why equipment leasing is a great thing. It's got tax advantages. Then if there's a capital lease, if you want operating leases for things you don't want to own, a capital lease is for things that you do want to own, things that last longer than the term of the lease. Bulldozers, heavy equipment, semi trucks, things that last 20, 30 years. You want to own that. You don't want to make payments and then not own it. So that is what that type of equipment lease is designed to do. It's designed to provide ownership. That's just one financial instrument. There's real estate financing. Now, everybody offers real estate financing. You can go to your bank and get that. And you might be saying right now, why wouldn't I just go to my bank instead? I know them. I've been working with them for 30 years. I don't know you guys. Well, here's why. Your bank is only going to show you what they have to offer. We're going to show you what a lot of people have to offer. And we're not going to do it by taking your package and shipping it out to 20 or 30 lenders and getting your credit run 20 or 30 times. We're not going to do that. What we will do, and we already know it because we zeroed in on who we work with already, we know who the best fit is. We're going to send it to one lender, get it approved. That's called the rifle approach, not the shotgun approach. Shotgun, you blast out in a wide pattern. You got 20 or 30 little BBs that go everywhere. No, rifle approach, one shot, you hit the target. So why would you work with us instead of your local bank that you've been with for 20 or 30 years? Well, we've got more options. And if you've got difficult credit, if that is the case, well, then, your local bank might be saying no to you. And you might be in the frame of mind where you think everybody's going to say no to you. But throw that out the door. Just get a hold of us, Paul at patriotbfc.com. Email me, DM Gary, because we can help you. Okay, so we covered equipment financing, real estate financing. There's something called factoring. If you do business to business sales and you're delivering a product or a service to business, you're issuing invoices, pay me in 30 days. Well, they don't always pay in 30 days. Sometimes they pay in 30, sometimes it's 40, 45, 50, 60 or beyond. Um, that affects your cash flow. Factoring will let you cash out the invoice 80 cents on the dollar. That's called the advance. What about the other 20 cents that's owed to you? When your client pays that invoice, then the factoring company will take that 20%, issue it back to you minus the fee. What's the fee? Well, the fee is called a cost of doing business. So essentially, you're selling that invoice for 97, 98 cents on the dollar. Why would you do that? You say, why would I take less money than I'm owed? Because you need the money now. You need it now. You don't need it next month. You've got hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars worth of cash floating out there waiting for people to pay you. In the meantime, your business is suffering. You're worried about not being able to make payroll or not being able to buy enough supplies. Your business is growing, and all that cash that is owed to you is out there waiting to be paid. Okay, well, you can get it now. It's called factoring. Sell your invoices, 97, 98 cents on the dollar. That cost of money, that's an expense. It's a cost of doing business, but it's also an expense. Okay, raising capital. When people talk about raising capital, there's two types. There's startups, and then there's growth capital for existing businesses with strong financials. They can do both. I told you earlier that through just pushing buttons on LinkedIn, making connections, that put me on the path where I had to find somebody to work with for a project. And that, we're scouts for two investment bankers. So we can help you. We understand, I can explain to you their programs, the cost, because there is a cost involved. Please don't think there's not. A lot of people do, and that's a mistake. There is no, I don't know, it might be one in a million to where you go in there and you sit in a restaurant, you write something on a napkin and somebody gives you the money for it. Typically, that's not really the way it happens. That's like the movie version. Okay. And when you're raising capital, what comes to mind is investors are giving you the money. There's some industries where that's the only place the money can come from, investors. But a lot of other industries, you can mix debt and equity. That's the way to do it. Maximize low cost debt, minimize high cost equity. Because if you take all investment money, they want something in return, right? What do they want in return? They want ownership of your company. And if they're giving you all the money for the project, they want majority ownership, majority control, so that they can make sure that the ship hits the port and everybody wins. They want majority control so they can sail it into the port and everybody gets paid. Is that a bad thing? No. That's the way it's always been. So
They're
is it
protecting their interests.
they're protecting their interests and their money. Exactly. So I mean, if you've got $100 million project and you got and don't be shocked when I tell you they give you all the money, they want 80, 90% ownership. You're left with 10% or 20% of the company. If you've got 10 or 20% of a $100 million company and you got 10 or $20 million, well, I guess that's not that bad. But there could have been a better way, debt and equity. So if you do that, you're not giving away large chunks of your company and you reserve the right to buy them out down the road and own your entire company. There's better, smarter ways to do things. And you got to get connected with the right people who know how to do those things. That's what happened to me. I got connected with all the right people who know how to do those things. I know how to do those things to help you. Gary knows how to do those things to help you out. And work with people who've got your best interests in mind, who want to win with you, which is what we want to do, and can point you in the right direction.
Wow, that was a powerful share. I know it might be a lot for some people to unpack it. So I'm going to attempt to just do some unpacking because I really love what you said. You know, many businesses, they give what you call that 30-day credit. And what happened when they give that 30-day credit when you're a small business? Time catch up. Sometimes the 30-day turn into 45 days or 60 days, and you're not able to receive that cash, and you have staff to pay, you have to restock to start the production process again. And you are all fearful, and you would say, oh my, I'm not going to give credit because if I give credit, I don't get back my money on time to keep the business cycle moving. I trust that you have recognized that what Paul just said to you is that you can sell your outstanding balance. It's called factoring. There are people who would buy your outstanding balance. So, guess what? You can give 30-day credit today, that becomes an outstanding balance. You can sell it and you have that money coming in. You can repeat this process several times and the money is coming in. So there is nothing that is slowing up your business from achieving its financial objective. And this is what I said early on. You see, fear is the absence of knowledge when you don't know how to win. What Paul has just did there is going to provide you the body of knowledge. And if you fully understand it and apply it to your life, the fear of giving credit would not exist. All right. because sometimes the person you're doing business with, they need that credit line to jumpstart themselves, because it might be a multiple of small businesses that are going through the growth phase. So with this kind of information, you have just set yourself up to overcome an essential fear factor that is holding you back.
Gary,
I
Catherine,
want us, go ahead.
uh, you really don't have a choice but to offer terms because everybody else in the world's doing it. And if you're the one who says, pay
Exactly.
me now, well, they're going to move to the person who's going to give them 30 days. So you don't have a choice. You got to participate in the game that way.
You know, you are so right, because the biggest companies in the world, they're giving you 30 days. You know, we can go to Walmart, you could go to Target, and you could get the net 30, 60, and 90. You know, they're giving credit because it's a normal way of doing business. And if you're in business that you say, I'm not giving credit because I'm fearful that I'm not going to get paid, you're out of business.
The smallest companies in the world are giving it. Everybody's giving it. That's just the way it is. There's no choice.
Yeah,
They don't pay.
exactly.
They don't have a person sitting there writing you a check at the shipping dock when your product or service is completed. They don't. It goes to their office. It goes to accounts payable, accounts receivable, and then they pay it. There's not a per. They don't have a person who writes the check that day. Just that. It's not the way it's done.
You know, that is so true. And what I've seen, Paul, is that the bigger companies, they have really positioned themselves to capitalize on this, because let's take Walmart as one example. They give credit and they take credit. And they have, I think it's over 5,000 credit lines, which means that they can stock and restock their store several times, not using cash in the bank. Not using cash in the bank.
Yeah.
They're tapping into credit line, perhaps also at 0% APR. So they're tapping into credit line because they understand how to play the game. They are leveraging capital, stocking and restocking, flipping that money several different times. I don't have to touch the bottom line.
Right.
Again, they don't have the fear that the small man have, because they understand, they have crossed over. They have recognized fear as the absence of knowledge, and they have ensured that they get the knowledge necessary to make bold business decisions. And I love what you said. Go ahead, Paul. Let me hear you.
Well, you go ahead. You were going to say something, then I'll chime in. Go ahead. Please go ahead and say
Yeah,
what you were going to say.
I was going to say that I love what you would have also said, that we have built out a business ecosystem here where we understand the dynamics of business, and we have literally built what we call the business success ecosystem. We have built this ecosystem because we have studied business over many decades. I know we're going to sound as though we're old people when we say many decades, but we have been around here for a little bit. We have studied business, we understand the pain points of businesses, and we have built a very unique ecosystem to really give businesses the support to win. When we talk these days, we are not just talking because we want to talk. We are talking because we understand your pain point, and we have the strategy to help you to get past the fear and come into the knowledge zone where you know. Paul just said it. We have people here that is going to help you to understand financial instruments so you can break the cycle. Some may call it the curse of, you know, of holding you back because you don't have the information. Grandma and grandpa said, don't take debt. And perhaps they had a good reason because you don't understand it. All right. But when you understand that the wealthiest people in the world, they swim in debt. They don't just take it, they swim in it. They love it because they understand they have crossed over. What we are doing here, I have done, we have built our system out to help you to cross over much easier, because this is what we're saying to you. Stop being fearful. We're going to help you to understand the financial instruments. One, We're going to help you to access the capital. That's two. We're going to help you to develop a strategic leveraging game plan because we know that there's risk when you access it. You may not leverage it in the right way. And we're going to help you to mitigate it. All right. And you're saving money and making money in all of these different ways. So why say you still have fear? Now we have said to you, you might be the camel, we're the water, drink the water. All right. Don't be a camel at the well and you just have fear. You're fighting the alligator bite you. But that I was trying to be comical there. Paul, all to you. I want to talk when you finish about critical thinking, but go right ahead.
I mean, what is fear? What is fear? If you're being chased by a serial killer, you still got to get rid of fear. You still have to get rid of it because if you're so afraid that you freeze and you can't run or fight back, you're going to die. If there's a tiger loose in your backyard, should you be fearful? You got to save your family. Should you be fearful? And this is a serious question. Should you be fearful? No. You got to spring right into action and figure out what to do. You don't have time to be fearful. You got to grab your people, throw them in a room, grab your guns, and do something. Do something. Okay. So, what is fear? Fear's nothing. It's nothing. We don't have
It's a
anything to be
lie.
fearful for. It's a
It's a
lie.
lie.
And then my dog's cute. And then okay, so
Yeah.
here's a question. If you had to borrow one sign on the dotted line for $1 million of debt and your payment's $10,000, $15,000 a month, are you going to be afraid? Now, you don't have all the information to answer that question, do you? You might instinctively say, yes, I'm going to be and there's people out there. We're not talking to everybody here. There's people out there who aren't afraid of this, right? Right, Gary?
Well,
So,
Paul, let me chime into what you're saying there just a little bit.
mhm.
Remember, I said early on, you need to embrace the fear.
Yeah,
Embrace the goddamn fear because that's the only way you're going to grow through it.
yeah,
And if you don't embrace that fear, you're going to be small and you're going to remain small for decades. All
yeah.
right. But let me say this, Paul, quickly. We often talk about critical thinking. This is the ability to, really think tank and brainstorm the challenge that is in front of you. And you talk about the story of the lion and the tiger. I want to equate that to war. Do you think that the folks that are going to war, they are not fearful? Do
They're
you think
afraid.
that they're not fearful?
They're
They're
afraid.
fearful for their life. But they know that if they don't go there and defend themselves, they're going to be vulnerable to attack. And the people that they love most dearly can lose their life. I mean, when we listen to Ukraine recently, that is what they're saying. When we listen to Israel recently, that's what they're saying. If we do not defend ourselves, we will be open and vulnerable to attack. So let me put this one. In business, I mean, I would love to say something else. It's a jungle. It's a jungle. It's a war. All right. And as Paul would have said, you're going to have snakes and alligators. You're going to have lions that when you go into that jungle, you have to be prepared to deal with it. The competition don't like you unless they're collaborating with you. It's a jungle. So if you don't put on that mindset that is helping you to overcome the fear factor, you're finished before you say mark, set, go. Business is a jungle. But then you have to be able to see it like the war game, where the jungle may sometimes be friendly with you when it thinks that you're on its side, or you have to become big enough when you play the game of war that you're able to establish a fair degree of dominance. And you can be fearful and do this. You just can't be fearful of doing this. And although you may have fear, what critical thinking allows you to do is to identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that lies out there and build your game plan around this. You see, if you're going to war and all you have is fear, you have lose the battle already. And that's one reason why they would say, Paul, if you have to cross the ocean to go to war, and the only way back is to use the boat that you're using, burn the boat. Burn that boat. Because you now you know that the only way you're going back home to your loved one is if you cross over from fear, apply the knowledge based on data, and be prepared to win that war.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this because I think many young people need to hear this. Many people in life, you need to hear this. Life is not the fairy tale, present. Business is not a fairy tale. You're going to have ruthless competition. I mean, I can talk to you about story of guerrilla warfare. And just let me tell you a little bit about guerrilla warfare and how business works. I can recall many years ago when I was studying marketing, one of the texts that I did study, I it had, was built around guerrilla warfare. And what we have seen is that an American company developed a real story. Developed, I think, was the Xerox, but it developed the big Xerox. And the Chinese now saw that there was tremendous demand for this product. And what do you think happened? They capitalize on manufacturing the smaller product because remember the American had the big one, but the smaller one was more handy, was more costly, and all of that. So they capitalize on that market and they start to produce. When the American recognizes what you think they did, they file an injunction uh, protecting their patent because they were the first to go to market. And in filing that injunction, preventing China from producing, the Chinese company from producing, guess what happened? You think they just throw back and wait for a court case? They had never wanted a court case. All they wanted to do is to file that injunction, slow down the Chinese company, go back to the table, innovate those, the small one, flood the market with the same product, and guess what? Guess what? Dominate the market, and then they withdraw the injunction. I'm saying this to you to really help you to understand the real world of business can become very aggressive. And if you have fear and you're allowing fear to navigate the way you're thinking in terms of business, you are dead before you say one, two, three. And sometimes to make this fast move in business, go back to the drawing board, re-innovate a smaller product, hitting the market, and all of that. Sometimes it requires capital. Not sometimes, all the time it requires capital. So let us say that you are that type of innovator. You're breaking through the fear and you want to be innovative and creative. You want to dominate in your market space. So you need capital. Guess what? You don't have to be worried about where the capital is going to come from. I'm going to have Paul talk to you some more about capital. Because when you want to make those innovative business moves, you have a team of financial specialists on your side that's going to be working with you to help you to understand the best financial instruments that you should be using. Two, they're going to help you to access the capital. Three, they're going to help you to leverage the capital in the smart way. And four, they're going to help you to mitigate. Paul would always say, a lot of what we are saying here, you're not going to get it one place in one institution. They're financial institutions that are going to give you the capital, and how you invest that is all upon you. But because we know the risk associated with investing capital, we have given you not just capital. We are not just helping you to understand the financial instrument. We are helping you to leverage and we are helping you to mitigate. You tell me which other institution you know is bringing these things together to help you through the fear factor. Paul, can you talk to us a little bit more about capital?
Mhm.
Because many businesses that wants to be innovative, wants to be creative, want to capitalize on market opportunity, they need capital. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Definitely. I just want to throw one thing in here real quick though. If you
Go
take on
ahead.
if you're signing for a $1 million loan and your payments are $15,000 a month, does that sound scary? Depends. If you're buying If you know that that $1 million is buying you a $3 million asset, you got $2 million profit, does it become less scary? For some people, it's not scary at all. For some people, they're going to say, how am I going to make that $15,000 a month payment? We'll figure it out. Depends. I mean, it might be apparent. You might be buying an apartment building that's already bringing the cash in. There's figure it out. It's either obvious or figure it out, right? I mean, if there's no income coming from the asset and you had to go find 180, 12 times 15, $210,000 in order to sustain for that year, but you were going to make $2 million afterwards, would you find a way to do it? I hope so, because you should. And how can I do that? There's a lot of ways. Go find a partner. Hey man, Gary, hey, $2 million. I can show you the appraisal. Here's the value of it. I signed for a $1 million loan. I can't make the payments for 12 months. I know you got it. Look at all that gold. I know you got it, Gary. uh, yeah. So let's partner. Let's make $1 million each. There's all types of ways. Now, now there are some people who will have fear and say, I'm going to pass. Well, your kids don't want you to pass on that, right? Your kids want you to win for them. And you shouldn't want to pass on it either because you want to help your kids out, your family, and yourself. So fear's nothing. Financial instruments, mitigating risk, investing it wisely. Anytime you take on debt, let's talk about equipment leasing. It's specific. The use is obvious. If we help you get an equipment finance deal done, that's where the money's going. So there is no, we don't need to help you figure it out. You're getting the equipment and you just make the payments to get it. Same thing if we're doing real estate financing. It's clear, it's obvious where it's going to. Now, if you're if you're raising capital, if you're if you're raising
But
capital for a large project, go ahead.
yeah, yeah, but Paul, you made a strong point early on. Going into big debt can be very, very scary for persons who are not experienced with this. And again, it all comes back to the fact that fear is the absence of knowledge. So, what I want to attempt to do is to examine what an amortization schedule will look like at the same $1 million that you would have projected. Now, let's take a scenario. You are asked to pay down 25% on a 50 unit family apartment complex. You're paying down 25%, but you're buying a 50 unit apartment rental that is going to be generating $2,000 per unit. So immediately you can see that 50 unit multiplied by $2,000, you're getting 100,000 USD per month. Sometimes the inability to navigate these figures makes you fearful. What we do is go into these figures for you to really help you to understand what you're getting into. So you have a clear idea that, hey, this asset can generate $100,000 a month. But let's go into this a little bit more. Let's talk about principal and interest. So you have a 30-year mortgage. You have 6% APR, and for 30 year. So what is it saying? A 30-year mortgage at 6% APR, and the total cost of the estate, because you're paying down 25%, which is $1 million. Let's say the total value of the asset is $4 million. So the amount that you will be asked to pay in principal and interest is $47,964.04. That's your monthly payment. But guess what? You're generating $100,000 per month. So let's go one step forward with this analysis. Because as you invest in real estate, you have to look at the principal and interest and the tax and insurance. So Profit before tax and insurance, you're walking away with $52,035.96 multiplied by 12. What happened here? You now have annual earning of $624,431.52. So you need an expert on your site to help you do this breakdown. All right, because let me just go one step further in this analysis. And I know this is what a lot of people run away from, is making these mathematical calculations. But the ability to do these mathematical calculations is what's going to help you to see risk, get past fear, come up to the side of knowledge, so you know exactly what you're getting into. Because the point that Paul was making, many persons, you're very fearful of big financial investment, but with the right knowledge, you are set up to win. So you have a 30-year mortgage, you have a 360 months payment. You're going to be making over this period of time $17 million, $267.55 plus 12 cents. This is the total amount that you're paying for this capital. Again, when we look at the APR that you're paying on this sum of money that you would have been taking, the APR alone is $9,267.52.12. But the APR doesn't matter, because let's look at the last part of it here. Annually, you're generating $1.2 million. And when you calculate your profit, the entire income coming in from this estate itself is $63 million. $63 million, and you're only paying out let me say $18 million. So when you do the analysis, you see how much profit you're able to come away with. But the average person, you're not able to do this kind of financial analysis. And because you're not able to make this financial analysis, all that stands in front of you is fear. So when we talk about understanding the financial instrument, accessing the financial instruments, leveraging the instrument, and mitigating debt, understanding everything what I've just said represents some of what you need to do. All right. And that's scratching the surface too. You don't need to know all of it, because we have the expertise in our team that's going to really help you to understand how this process works and mitigate it. So, Paul, I just want to add this part to the real estate part that you were talking about, because I believe it was necessary for people to understand how it works. I'm going to come right back to you, Paul. Can you walk us through some of the other financial instruments so they know that, hey, we can help you access the capital? But we want to help you to break through fear, because we are not just giving you the capital. We have a broader ecosystem that's going to help you to understand how money management really works. All to you, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, something called sources and uses. So let's say you're doing a capital raise, a Securities and Exchange Commission compliant capital raise. Remember, anybody talks to you about ever raising capital for your business, you have to have Securities and Exchange Commission compliant attached to that. It's important. It's the law. You just can't just raise money. You can't just go get money from somebody. There's a process and a way to do it. But when that happens, it's called sources and uses. Sources is where it's coming from. Uses is how it's going to be used. And that's how it has to be used. You take it under an agreement. This is what we're going to use it for. Okay. Some things are more complicated than others. Some things are very simple and easy to understand. You will not get an equipment lease approved. We won't be able to get it approved for you unless you have the ability to make the repay, the ability to repay the new debt, ability to repay, and your use on it. So that's kind of a simple thing that should be obvious to you, and I know it is. I know it is. You got a construction company. You got more business than you can handle. You need another dump truck and bulldozer. You know what you're going to use it for. Here's the new payment. Can you make that's clear enough? And there's other things, and you can jump in at any time, Gary. but I'm trying to think right now some other circumstances where you would need somebody like Gary to
Yeah,
help walk you through this.
yeah,
Uh, Maybe if you're taking a line of credit and you're going to be
yeah,
point- pointing that, and go ahead, Gary, please jump in.
yeah. What Paul is saying here is that it's important to really take the time and work with an expert. Get an expert on your team that is not only helping you to understand how to fix the book. Fixing the book is very important, but you also need the financial expert that can really help you to understand money and how money works. You need to have someone on your side that perhaps also understand, equity capital and how it works. But I want to hit home by saying this. If you have an expert on your team that understand financial instruments and they really able to help you to navigate the financial market, guess what? From the get-go, they're going to able to help you to save on capital acquisition, because very often when you're going for capital, you are just going to what you perceive is available to you. But with an expert on your side, an expert is going to help you to understand a range of financial instruments and what's the best capital for you to access and the best terms that they can actually negotiate for you. So from the get-go, you've actually win here. You win because they save you on the cost of capital, because you have selected the best financial instrument for the project in which you're doing. So having that expert on your side is going to help you to make that decision. And Paul often say this, you need to have these experts on your side. The second concept that I want you to look at here, understanding money and how money works doesn't mean that you're going to be able to access, because you need to be fundable. You need to understand the pre-qualification criteria to help you to access the capital, because it is understanding this is what's going to put you in a position, because there are different pre-qualification that you need to look at depending on if you're going for debt instruments, if you're going for equity instruments, if you're going for credit instrument or creative financing. All right. The lowest hanging fruit might be credit, or the lowest hanging fruit can also be creative. It all depends on the team of financial expert that you have on your side and how they are actually thinking through that process and helping you to think through that process. Understanding the instrument is very, very important, because you can save hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars from the get-go of that negotiation process. And that's the kind of expertise that we will bring to you when you come to us to help you to understand it. So you win before you negotiate capital. You win when you access and when you leverage. And Paul, I'm going to talk just briefly on the point of leveraging, because we see a lot of failure here, Paul. People take the capital and, they have fearful of taking it. And when they get the money, they do everything to make them even more fearful, because instead of, buying the regular shipping boat to just carry the goods, they buy a luxury yacht. And a luxury yacht is not necessary to carry the goods from one port to the other. So we call it capital mismanagement. So part of what we do is to really help you to be focused on how capital is going to be managed, how capital is going to be leveraged. And again, what we talk about is not front end analytics. When you're leveraging capital, it's not an emotional decision. You start a business, you want capital, you want to go and do this, you want to leverage the money here, but you're making front end analytics because you don't know who is your target market. You don't know the size of your target market. You don't know how to access your target market. You don't know if your target market has the ability and the willingness to pay for your products and services, but you need money to go start a business and you're making an emotional decision. That's a front end analytics. We talk to you a lot about back end analytics, where you collect the sensitive data, analyze the sensitive data, apply the sensitive data, you mitigate the sensitive data. You have to be market oriented, sensitive, and responsive when you're taking capital. I know this is a whole lot. Doing business is not for small thinkers. All right. You want to put yourself in that position of strength where you have the information that is helping you to make informed and educated decision as to how to navigate the world of business. All right. You want to put yourself in this position. So I'm saying to you, at with us, is all of this is what we're going to bring to bear to ensure that you win. So when you have capital, it's not going to be mismanaged. You have capital now, you know exactly where to put those monies to give you the highest return on your investment. We want you to win. And again, I'm going to ask this, as Paul would say, you tell me which other institution is going to give you capital and then sit down with you and ensure that they help you to win. We're doing this because we understand private equity investment. And when private equity investors come into you, they want you to win. They want to make you a unicorn. They want to take you from local, carry you national, regional, and international. They want to make you a unicorn. So, because of the fact that we have that kind of exposure, that kind of training, that kind of mindset, that is what we want to bring. That is what we are bringing to you. We don't want you to stay small. We want to help you to grow and expand. Paul, can you tell us a little bit about the BFC as we begin to wrap up today's program? I know we got a mission with the BFC, and I want to hear it from you, my friend.
Definitely. Business BFC stands for Business Finance Consultants. That's what I am. That's what Gary is too. So we want to train you to be that. We want to work with you. You won't be our employee. You'll be a 1099 contractor. We want to pour the information into you, teach you how to be an expert, how to be a business finance consultant, so that you can offer the same through our sources, working directly with us. You can use our sources to provide capital to businesses, provide equipment financing, real estate financing, capital raises, factoring, and purchase order financing. Full training, full support, full effort on our part poured into you. We're only going to do that if you're serious. Let's be real. Okay. We need you to be serious. And if you are serious about this, you can make a lot of money. Lots and lots of money. Like dump truck loads full of money. That's what you want. You owe that to your family to do that. So there's nothing wrong with working an hourly job. And you can work an hourly job while you do this. But we would hope that your goal would be to work that hourly job while you learn this new skill, this new profession, this new career. And we would hope that your goal would be to get rid of that hourly job, because job stands for just over broke. It does. You make
Yeah,
ends.
the reality has changed over many years, and it's not that we're going to hit work, but that's the reality. So you have to find ways to augment your income source.
Yeah. Well, my dad was a steel worker. My mom was an auto worker. They made a good living. They wanted to do what they did. They didn't have a desire to start a business, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. It's what a person wants. But if you're the person hearing this who wants more for your family, then we want to help you get that, because we're going to gain too. If we're working with you and you're doing outstanding, we're all going to make money together as a team. For us to increase our business times 100, we need 100 people to work with. So no experience required. We'll teach you this. Anybody can learn anything. So don't be back to fear. Don't be afraid. Do not be afraid that you think this is too big for you to learn. Business finance, it's too big. It's not. You don't need I don't have a college degree. I just have business degree in life. I don't business degree. I've got a degree in life living, and I've got mentors who've taught me this stuff, and I paid for it too. I paid cash for this information on how to do this. So I put my own personal investment into it, and all that same information, our sources. I've got 105 lenders on my lender list. What does that really mean? Every one of those lenders can give me 5 more lenders to work with. I've got that would make 525 lenders. The amount of lenders we have is limitless, okay? But we don't need all of them. We've zoned in on who we work with. We've got our core group of lenders, and they're putting money out. So if you want to be in the type of career and profession to where you can provide capital to businesses, which is a pretty professional career, looks good on paper. I'm sure you're going to impress a potential new girlfriend with it, right? Sure, you could do that. Uh, we want to work with you. So call at patriotbfc.com, email me, DM Gary. Let's get it. Let's do this. Let's get this new information to you. Let's ingrain it in you. Let's turn you into that professional. Let's turn you into a ninja
Ninja.
with
Mhm.
finance and start slinging the money. Start financing these businesses. All right, let's do it and let's make some money together. Full
All
training,
right,
full.
thanks for that.
Yeah.
Thanks for that share, Paul. So there you have it. You can become a BFC, a business finance consultant. You will be trained to sell money. You will also be trained to understand marketing, to understand sales. I believe all of us, we practice sale. We are either good or bad at it. We want you to be good. We want you to become the ninja of sales and the ninja of understanding and capital. And we have a team of beautiful people for you to learn from. We have lecturers who would have lectured at, you know, international universities. We have professors who would have lectured at many universities to work with you to ensure that you get the right content of information and the right support to win. Becoming a BFC, it's a high paying task. I don't want to say you're going to be working for us because we're going to train you and we're going to become a team. We're going to train you to understand what is franchising. We're going to train you to own a piece of a franchise. We're going to train you to be your own boss, but we're going to also train you to position you to become extremely successful in what you're doing. So there's no glass ceiling in terms of how much money you can earn. The glass ceiling is going to be set by you. It's how you apply yourself with the information that we're going to give you that is going to help you to determine and predetermine how far you're going to go financially. We want you to go as far as possible, but it depends on you. All right. We are bringing you to the well, and we're saying to you, this is possible. You now have to be an active participant in being at that well. So, Paul, I want to thank you for that share. And folks, today we talk about fear. Why allow fear to hold you back? Fear is a figment of your imagination. It's that voice inside of you saying, I can't. The other voice that is saying to you, I can. I want you to listen to that voice and stop listening to that voice that say, I can't. Get on the side of experience, get on the side of knowledge, get on the side of mentor and coach and a support community that can help you to break through fear. Because if you don't do this, you may be stuck right where you are, not for a day or two, not for a year or two, for decades. And guess what you're doing? You're preventing your spouse to see the best side of you. You're preventing yourself from making the kind of contribution that you would really want to make to your loved ones and to yourself. You deserve to be, flown in your essence, but fear is not going to get you there. And I want to encourage you today. Some of our partners are not here, and but we have a number of experts in our team that will talk to you about leadership. You need to be a better leader. We'll talk to you about master planning. You need to know how to plan for your life, because if you don't have a plan, you're just a captain on your ship that have no navigation. You just don't know where you're going and how to get there. So I'm going to pause here for now because I think that we had fun today. Paul, I trust you had fun. I
Yes.
trust the audience had fun, but it was pretty exciting today talking about fear. Awesome. So with that being said, I want to thank viewers across the world who are looking at this program. I want to thank those who will listen to the rebroadcast of this program. And I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. And my last words, embrace fear. All right. Fear is the absence of knowledge. Get the knowledge. Thanks, Paul. And we'll do this again tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow at 2 p.m. EST, we have the High Net Worth Investors Guide, and you need to be there. See you guys.
See ya.